Ambassador Taha, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to speak to Thai audience about what happened in New Zealand in Christchurch a week ago. What's your reaction when you first heard of the news? Because we as Thai people, this is not the kind of thing that we would expect in New Zealand.
This terrorist attack, which was carried out in Christchurch, was unprecedented in our history. The extent of that tragedy is still something we are starting to come to grips with. We are united in our grief over this attack on our Muslim community. And I think it's important, though, to stress that we are united. We're very united as a country. There has been an outpouring of grief for the victims and for their families. And for each other as New Zealanders having to experience this tragedy. Tens of thousands of New Zealanders have shown up at vigils for the victims and their families. And our people really have come together to face this tragedy together. And we will continue to move together united. I think it's very important to say that this attack on our Muslim community was an attack on all of us. Muslims are a key part and a very important and long-standing part of our New Zealand community. They're our friends, they're our neighbours, they're our colleagues, they are us. And so the fact that this atrocity was perpetrated against our Muslim community is something that we are all coming together to face and responding to as one, as a country, and will continue to moving forward.
He sought many things from his act of terror, but one was notoriety, and that is why you will never hear me mention his name. He is a terrorist, he is a criminal, he is an extremist, but he will, when I speak, be nameless. And to others I implore you, speak the names of those who were lost, rather than the name of the man who took them. He may have sought notoriety, but we in New Zealand will give him nothing, not even his name. There is no question that ideas and language of division and hate have existed for decades, but their form of distribution, the tools of organisation, they are new. We cannot simply sit back and accept that these platforms just exist and that what is said on them is not the responsibility of the place where they are published. They are the publisher, not just the postman. There cannot be a case of all profit, no responsibility.
Throughout the week, we've seen very powerful messages from Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern as well, and some of them have already been translated into action as well. So moving forward, how do you expect things to unfold, Ambassador, after what happened in Christchurch?
Well, I think firstly I'd like to say, Varin, that we have been very moved also by the strong outpouring of support from our international friends, our partners, including in Thailand. I would like to specifically acknowledge firstly the very meaningful message from His Majesty the King, the messages from Prime Minister Prayut and the message from Foreign Minister Don, and also the very many other messages we've received from Thai people everywhere. This kind of support is very meaningful to us at the times of tragedy like this. Having the support of our friends really helps us go forward. For us, there are two key focuses right now. The first is ensuring that our Muslim community, the victims and their families, are given all of the support they need to allow the process to move forward from here, and that is going to be a key priority for all of us moving forward. The second is obviously the public safety angle. Ensuring the safety of all New Zealanders is a very strong priority of the government. The police, our security services continue to operate very, very actively to try and prevent and ensure that both public safety is maintained and that any future activities or future atrocities such as this are prevented. Today they introduced measures to change our gun laws, including to ban military semi-automatic weapons as well as assault rifles. The alleged attacker was taken into custody very quickly. He's been charged with murder. More charges will follow, and he will face the full force of New Zealand law. And we'll take other very important measures to continue to ensure that the right support measures are introduced around the community, but particularly our Muslim community and the families and the victims of this atrocity.
I think it gives the world a comfort by seeing how acceptant you are of the multiculturalism in the world today. But the other thing is the social media, Ambassador. How do we tackle this as a world community?
I mean, I think social media is a undeniable part of our lives right now, and we can't ignore that fact. I think one thing that our government has been very clear on, however, is that we wouldn't like to see social media being used as a mechanism to give the attacker and the perpetrator of this horrible atrocity the notoriety which he seeks. We were very, very strong in our calls to all social media platforms and to all media organisations to not broadcast the shocking and horrible footage of the attack. And we continue to call on all people to not share or not use that footage, which again may contribute to giving this attacker the notoriety that were one of the things that they sought from this atrocity. The other thing we've been very clear on is that we won't acknowledge the name of this person. We will acknowledge and we will honour the names of those who lost their lives in this horrendous attack. We will acknowledge the heroic acts of the first responders, of some of the victims who tried to act to end this attack while it was underway. So we will acknowledge the heroes, but we will not acknowledge the perpetrator, because to do so would only help give them the notoriety which they seek, and potentially sort of make it more likely that future attacks occur.
Thank you, Ambassador. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับ